Hi guys, today we are going to be having a lecture on medical terminology. So the basic concepts of medical terminology, it is a special vocabulary used by healthcare professionals for accurate communication. It is consistent throughout the world. It is based primarily on Latin and Greek words. The Greeks started and are considered the fathers of modern medicine, and the Romans took up the mantle and added their own Latin terms to the pre-existing Greek ones. Origins of words. Sometimes the origins are related to history, poetry, mythology, geography, physical objects, and ideas. This is an example of a mythological origin. On the right here, we have Medusa and if you are familiar with Medusa, you know that she had snakes for hair. And on the right here is the picture of snake-like varicose veins in the abdomen. Therefore, the Greek base of this is related to Medusa. As a for instance, there are four primary word parts. There is the root word. There is the root word. The suffix, which comes after the root word and modifies the meaning of the root, and the prefix, which comes before the root word. And there can be a combining vowel to make the word trip off the tongue a little easier. So not every medical term has all four word parts. Some do have more than one root. Some are simply just a prefix and a suffix with no root, but they must all have a suffix in some form. Let's start with the root. The root is the fundamental unit of each medical word. It establishes the basic meaning of the word. And this is the part where prefixes and suffixes are added. So I don't know if anyone remembers the old Jailhouse Rock cartoon, Conjunction Junction. This is kind of like that, if you do remember. You have the root in the middle, you have the suffix as a caboose, and the prefix as the engine. And all together, you form the word. Next, we have the prefix. It is a short word part added prior to the root. It modifies the meaning of the root. And, all right, it can be followed by a dash. And the suffix on the end of the word is a short word part added to the end of a word, and it modifies the meaning of the root. So let's start with the word learn. The root is learn, as one who learns. The suffix modifies learn into one who learns. The prefix re in front would mean to learn again. So in medical terms, let's look at the word cardia. The root is cardi, and that is related to the heart. And the Latin for lung is pulmo. So the root, it has a Latin root for the lung is pulmo. You can combine roots directly to a suffix with a combining vowel, in this case, O. Roots that are combined with a vowel are called combining forms. When you see those in your charts, there is a slash next to those combining vowels. So in the instance of near for the brain, the nervous system, you'd be adding a combining vowel of O. And the combining vowel is omitted if the suffix already begins with a vowel. So you can see the suffix here begins with I, so you don't add another combining vowel, you just keep the vowel that is on the suffix. You can insert an O before a suffix if it begins with a consonant. So logi begins with the consonant lo, and near, the root we're going to be looking at is near, and it pertains to the nervous system. So you are ending the root O to near in front of the consonant logi, and you end up with neurology, which is the study of the nervous system. So this is an instant of a root being combined with the O in front of a suffix with a consonant, a lead consonant. If words end in X, you need to add a suffix to a word ending with an X. The X is changed to a G or a C. If there's a consonant before the X is changed to a G. So we have in this case, a pharynx in the throat. And rather than keeping that X, we add the G right here and then the suffix. Instead of pharyngeal, it becomes pharyngeal. If a vowel comes before the X is changed to a C. So we have thorax, getting rid of the X and replacing that with the C. And we have a thoracotomy, rather than a thorax. Thoraxtomy is what it would be if you didn't replace the X. And this is just for the ease of saying them in English. In cases where the suffix begins with the letters RH, the R, you add a R to double it. So if you have a suffix, in this case of rage, which is a bursting forth, heme with the combining vowel O is blood. So you have a bursting forth of blood and a hemorrhage. So here you see the RH being replaced or added to a double R. So you have hemorrhage, two R's in this case. There are phonetic pronunciations provided for the words. You'll want to repeat the words aloud. And the pronunciations may change when you start adding prefixes and suffixes to the root. Vowels with no pronunciation marks get a short pronunciation. When you have an A without any marks, it is a short A. Hat, cat, fat. A short line over the vowel gives it a long pronunciation. For instance, say, hey. And the accented syllable is indicated with capital letters as an accent. In this case, the accented syllable is the first one, ac. You can have a soft C as in racer. There can be a hard C as in candy. A soft G is indicated by a J, so we can have a page pronunciation, and a hard G as in grow. Sometimes you will run into silent letters with unusual pronunciations, and it can be a problem if they appear at the start of a word specifically. So one that you will see with some frequency is pneumonia. The P is silent, and you start the word with the sound N. Another one would be pseudonym. It's a non-medical term, but pseudonym also has a silent P in front of it. Oftentimes, and you will get used to this as you move into your practices, there are acronyms. An acronym is an abbreviation formed from the first letter of each word in a phrase. So you don't have to write out the entire phrase each time. Example would be ASAP, as soon as possible, FDA, Food and Drug Administration, and you will be up to your eyeballs in acronyms before you're through your program. Occasionally you will see shorthand symbols, but they've certainly fallen out of favor in the current medical records and systems. But increase an arrow up and right with the R sign. So let's go through our key terms. We have an acronym, which is an abbreviation formed from the first letter of each word in a phrase. The combining form is a word root combined with a vowel to link the root with a suffix. In this case, it is the O. A compound word that contains more than one root. Sometimes you will see medical terms that have several roots and associated prefixes and suffixes. A prefix is a word part before a root to modify its meaning. A root is the fundamental unit of a word, and a suffix is added to the end of a root to modify its meaning.